Hey guys, I've lost 180 pounds and sometimes my scale creeps up, so I kind of have to do some type of reset. So right now we are going to do a carnivore-ish and a creamy reset. Hello, today's Sunday and tomorrow is Memorial Day, so you'll be watching this on Tuesday, unless you catch it later. But if you catch it on the day it comes out, look at this shirt. One of my coworkers, she gave me this shirt. It's like 4th of July, but it's also, patriotic, so it matches Memorial Day. Anyway, how you doing? Let me tell you how funny and amazing my God is, okay? My God, your God, all of our God. So this morning I woke up and I usually hit snooze a couple times, but I got up and I got ready and I'm like, okay. And I just started moving forward. Well, then, Baxter, he's pacing around and panting and ready for me to leave. So it's hard for me to lollygag at my house. Anyway, so I got done and it was like 7:30 and I'm like, I'm just going to go to 8:30 service. Why sit around here and for 2 hours and deal with this boy pacing and panting in my face for 2 hours? So I went to 8:30 service. I texted my church family and told them that's what I was doing. So I went. My best friend, that we've been friends. So I've got two best friends, Lori and Angie, like long-term best friends. Lori and I, we didn't like each other. We've known each other since first grade. But I didn't like her because I was kind of the class bully and she was like the class smart girl, kind of quiet. So I was kind of mean to her in grade school. But I guess about junior high school, once we got out of the private school, then we started hanging out and getting along. And so anyway, so we've been good best friends since, I'll say since we were 15 and I'm 53. You do the math. Anyway, so all that to say, she doesn't go to my church. She goes to my mom's church, but she's kind of branching out sometimes. And I'm at church waiting on the doors to open and lo and behold, there she is. So it was really cool. I sat with her and her daughter and anyway, and then, so I got to see both of my best friends today. I got to see Lori and sat by her, and then Angie, I helped her seat people for the 10 o'clock service. So anyway, yeah, God is so funny. He's like, girl, I got something planned for you, so get your butt to church now. So, all right, let's start off. June 27th, editing Terri, email Terri work to put that on the calendar. There's some kind of women's prayer or something or another. June 27th at 6:30. We're still doing the sermon of altered. And, we go to the altar of Jesus to get, it's supposed to be, he kind of did a play on words. Anyway, to get altered. Our church put out a worship team album. And it's on Apple Music and all the other things. And it's called One, O-N-E. So I haven't even looked for it yet. I just went straight from church to here. So anyway, there's that. So Pastor Chris, he's the one that started today, or talked today. He said, people are on the edge. He said last year they did a study and the impatience of people it went up 170%. 170%. He said 3 out of 4 surveyed said that they would put back their purchase if they had to wait longer than 5 minutes in line. And he said, in some world, if not, he said, we're an instant world. And if not instant, then we get worked up. And he said it's been worse after the pandemic. And he said, we all have a low grade anger with a high level of anxious. So we escalate real fast and we need to let our emotions, we don't need to let our emotions run our lives. So we need to take our emotions to Jesus so he can alter our emotions. So he started off with Proverbs 25, verse 28. Like a city whose walls are broken through, is a person who lacks self-control. I almost felt a little bit called out about my eating. I know. Anyway, so I'll read that again. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. And he says we need to manage our emotions. So the lesson number 1 is that emotions are a gift from God. And he said it's a blessing because God also has emotions for us and towards us. He said we are created in his image. God even got frustrated and angry. And frustration and anger serves a purpose. So in Genesis 1 verse 27, so God created the world in his own image. He created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. And he says the image of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. He said from John 3:16, God showed love. And in Matthew 14 verse 14, God shows compassion for struggling people. John 11 verse 35, Jesus wept. And that was whenever Lazarus died. He said that, Jesus knew he was going to bring him back from the dead, but he saw his friends and his family crying. And so it made him sad. So God feels sadness also. Mark 11 verse 15, that was when Jesus was he walked in and he flipped the tables at the tabernacle. Or Saint, whatever that places are. Anyway, Jewish. Yeah, anyway, whatever. That's when he flipped the tables. He said, he called them a den of thieves. Pastor was saying that back then they had a sacrificial system. Oh, and he said some interpretations say he sat and made a whip of cords and used the cords as well. The sacrificial system was that they had animals and tables where people could buy an animal to sacrifice. He said, but the problem was that they were raising prices and they were unclean animals. And so they were selling those to the poor people who didn't know any different. And so, it evoked the emotions of Jesus. So he said, emotions wake us up and call us to action. He said, there's a problem when the emotions run the show. And so lesson number 2 is to avoid extremes. Don't let our emotions drive or disappear. Emotions, they don't always tell us the truth. So then he talks, he told us look, Jeremiah 17 verse 9. Hang on, y'all. I like that Mom's Bible has these little things. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus. I know it's Old Testament. Hang on here. Jeremiah. Where are you, Jeremiah? I always hear that like in my head as like a name, like on, people like that live, like, like, I don't know, just that's just a name, like a good strong name, Jeremiah. So Jeremiah 17 verse 9. You just hang on. Don't be so antsy. Okay, 17 verse 9. It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? So that's Jeremiah verse 9. So it literally says in the Bible that, we can't believe our hearts. This is tough on me, y'all, because your girl lives by her feelings. All right. So the heart is deceitful and your feelings can lie. Letter C. So 1 Peter 5 verse 8. Be sober-minded, be alert. Your adversary, the devil, is prowling around like a roaring lion looking for anyone he can devour. It says, don't lose your head to emotions. And then Proverbs 14 verse 12. It says, there is a way that seems right to a person, but its end is the way to death. And then he goes to examples of false feelings. So he said emotionalism. If I feel it, it must be true. And he says feelings can lie. Sometimes God will withhold feelings to see if we will still follow. He talked about how sometimes we go to church and we're like, well, the Lord wasn't with me. I am so guilty of this in my mom's old church. I didn't get the goosebumps today, so I think the Holy Spirit wasn't there. I didn't feel the Holy Spirit today. I didn't feel God today, so it was just a bad service today. No, because sometimes God withholds feelings to see if we stick around. But we don't necessarily want to, while we don't want to become emotionalists, we don't want to have a detachment of our feelings where we say feelings don't matter. And he said, God doesn't want, wrote little here. Hang on, y'all. Bear with me. God does not want us emotionalist or detached. And he talked about the Pharisees. They were religious on the outside, but dead on the inside. And they honored with the lips, but their heart was far from me. He even told the woman on the well, worship with your head and heart. So hang on. Let me tell you something. If you people had to read that, you'd have some issues too. Okay, DB. He said, we need to lay our emotions at God's altar for God to alter our response and life. Big takeaway. Emotions surrendered at the altar become fuel for a spirit-led life. He said, Mark was the author of the book of Mark. And he said it was Peter was the one that told him what happened. And so Peter, James, and John were at Gethsemane while Jesus prayed. And he talked about how and Jesus fell asleep, or the three people fell asleep. And Jesus, he talked about Jesus's feelings. He was stressed and anxious, and he knew the pain that he was about to go through. He prayed for God to take that pain away, but he also said, only if it's your will. So we need to have be open and honest with God, with God. Oh, he was open and honest with God with his feelings. He said, God can handle our human honesty. And so we need to submit them to God. And he said, when the three friends were falling asleep, Jesus got up and said, enough, the time has come, let us go. So even though he was frustrated with his friends and went back to him 3 times, he still said, all right, friends, come on, let's all go together and go do this. Then they said, in order to have a spirit-led life, we have to choose to do 3 things. We have to name it. What am I really feeling? We have to frame. I did that this morning. I hate taking a shower. I don't know why. I just hate taking a shower. So this morning I was like, why do I hate taking a shower? And it's not the water. It's not the washing of the hair. I feel good when I get out. Like, why do I hate it? And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, is it the act of the shower? No. It's the fact that I'm standing still in one little spot doing one thing. And my brain isn't allowed to, or my brain's allowed to wander on its own. Hang on, I better check something. Okay, my brain's allowed to wander, and my little ADHD self, I don't like to focus and do one thing for very long. Something that's making me sit still. Now, don't get me wrong, I am very lazy. But sitting still and watching TV while doing a little circle of word puzzle or Sudoku, I got 2 things going on. But when I'm in the shower, it's literally just me washing my hair, washing my body. I hate to take a shower. And so it honestly gives me anxiety. And so I was in the shower and I'm like, what? Why does it do that? So anyway, so you have to name, what is it I'm really feeling? So it was not anxiety. A shower doesn't cause anxiety. It's boredom in standing still. So I had to name it this morning. And then he said, you need to frame it. Why am I feeling this way? What's the bigger picture? So it wasn't anxiety, it was boredom. So there you go. I have to reframe my original thought. And then we have to tame it. So the Holy Spirit can help me lead my emotions. And the Holy Spirit will help me lead my emotions, not be led by them. And so I have to lay it down before the Lord. And so that's it. So in order to lead a spirit-led life, we have to name our emotions, frame our emotions, and tame our emotions. Then went to, wait. Okay, yeah, that's it. Galatians 5 verse 16. I say then, walk by the Spirit, and you will certainly not carry out the desire from the flesh. And then verse 22 and 23 is, be fruitful of but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So to learn self-control, that is one of the fruits of the Spirit. I ain't saying I'm going to learn. I mean, you know. But anyway, we're made in Jesus' image and God's image. And he wants us to feel emotions. He just doesn't want us to dwell on them. He doesn't want us to let those emotions lead us. Because if I let my emotion about the shower go, I wouldn't take a shower for 2 months. And that isn't very healthy. And that's not very good. And that's not doing a good thing for my body. So there we go. So that's kind of funny. I had that same context. But yeah, it was a good Sunday. It was neat that I got to sit with my best friend since junior high. And then Angie and I, we've been best friends. Well, we both went to beauty school together. And I graduated in 94. She graduated a little after me from, from beauty school. And we worked together. And then in 2001, the world just kind of went wild after 9/11. And that's at that stage. Then I went on to nursing school. And so I kind of lost touch with Angie. And because when you work night shift, you lose touch with everybody. You kind of lose touch with your own mom and dad. Hang on, I'm filing. Had a couple of my nails breaking, so I'm filing them. Because I'm hard on nails. Definitely hard. But I think going forward, I'm going to always ask for clear or pink. And not painted. Because, look, let me show you how natural that looks. So this little one is the one that broke, and that is the other one. So they still just kind of they look like, it's not like really weird, so it's got a really, yeah, it's short, and then my thumb, but it still looks like it's got the same, this still looks the same. I always think it's funny when somebody's like nail pops off. It's me, it's judgment, and I can't help it, I'm working on it. But I always think it's funny when somebody has like all their hand one color, and long, and then one little short nail. So that's why I got clear. Don't ask. I know. I'm judgy. Okay. Love you. Bye. And I'm laying on Mama's floor. And don't forget, today is Judy Day. So we go out to eat at Hickory House. Oh, I assume they'll be open. Anyway, so we'll go out to eat. And as usual, I'll get something. And I will... I am going to eat the broccoli and slaw. So that's part of the ish, okay? This is not I'm not no strict carnivore person, so okay, bye.
There is a fish thing Friday, but I'm not sure I'm going to make it to it, so.
And getting that fish. This is where we come.
And the steak is good. I just had the ground chuck, or whatever, chop steak.
Yeah.
So I'm not really ready for that anymore.
There, that's what I'm getting. I've had a lot of pork this week with chicken, so I'm going to get that. And then I'll get because these sides, none of them are carnivore, so I usually get broccoli and coleslaw. Those are the two things I will get. I could get green beans if they put sugar on them. Never had collards. Since I'm doing a little lower, I'm going to skip out on the corn. So that's what I'm going to go with, broccoli and coleslaw. By the way, there's Judy. That's my lunch date today. She's thinking. So I'm going to eat the chopped steak first. And there's the broccoli and coleslaw. I may or may not eat it. Okay, I want you to see what she's doing. So every Sunday, she has them bring her food.
and then has them bring her a to-go box. So many of you have asked how she stays healthy and, at 83. And so she takes half of her food and puts it in the to-go box, and then she'll eat what's left. So that's how she manages large portions. And about 4 bites of the coleslaw and about 5 little bushes. So that's what's left. I finished up my chopped steak, and there you go.
How you doing? Well, I'm got my supper here, and I'm just kind of slowly working my way up my YouTube channels. I watch Vicky Marie Living Life, and now I'm watching some Nona Grace, and I'll see just kind of. Sometimes I usually start at the top of my thing and work my way down. This time I start at the bottom and working my way up. So how's your Sunday going? Mine's been good. I got a new verse up in my bathroom. I'll post it. I took a picture of it this morning. I'll share it with you. Hi, good luck reading my handwriting. It says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and don't reject your mother's teaching, for they will be garland of favor on your head and pendants around your neck. Anyway, so I'm doing okay. So what I found is with these nails that Angie put on, I'm very hard on the tips. I just grab things. I'm not used to like grabbing things. I just grab things. You know what I'm saying? Like I use the tips of my finger instead of the pads of my finger. So I done chipped off the. Oh, are you okay? Did you fall and hit your head? Him fell down and went boom. Anyway, so I chipped the tips of them off. So I'm treating them like a overlay, like a nail pot, like an overlay. And then I went ahead and polished them because I painted my toes yesterday. So I went ahead and matched my fingertips to my toes. So what have I got going on? Well, I still ain't got no house shoes. I went ahead and ordered some, just a generic cheapy type off Amazon, because I like the tennis shoe type feel, but the slip in, like the Skechers, but I ain't paying Skechers price on this go around. Not if he's just gonna chew them up. I'm telling you, this is the 3rd or 4th pair that Sammy Joe has chewed up. Well, Lou's out exploring somewhere for all I know. Callie's over there. She's licking anywhere Lou has laid. He likes, lost the times he leaves like a trail of something, like his ear drainage or whatever. So tonight, remember I say I'm carnivore-ish. I was craving a steak. Oh, you guys, I used my therapist's advice on the drive home. This is red onion, sauteed red and white onions, and a steak. You just hang on. There's our Princess Lou Berdue, our little drama queen. Anyway, I used my therapist's advice. On the drive home, I was like, man, I want a steak tonight. And I was like, okay, you got steaks in the freezer. This is my electrolytes, and this is the wild berry flavored lemonade. It's those lemon things, those shaky things that you sent me. I forgot the brand. Lemon something. But anyway, so I got my electrolytes and that in here. So anyway, I was like, I want some kind of steak. And I was like, yeah, but you got some in the freezer. And I was like, yeah, but I want to stop somewhere and get a fresh steak. Flabbit. Well, y'all sit still. You're working my nerves. Just stop it. I'm about to take you out to the woodshed. Now sit still. But I thought, I know I got frozen ones in the freezer, but I want a fresh one. I'm like, why? Like, I don't know. I just want to go in somewhere. So I looked at my wallet because I'm like, well, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to buy it if you ain't got enough cash. And I could, don't get me wrong. It's just one of those things. I'm very impulsive. So I was trying to talk myself off the impulsive train. And girl, you got $12, 12 calories cash in your billfold. You are not going to go get a steak. I'm like, fine. And I was like, okay, let's think of it this way. You have steak in the freezer. You know how to air fry it and it tastes wonderful. Why not just eat what you got? Or, think about that. Use what you have at home, and you get gutters coming up this week. $1,600 gutters. Gutters, and eat a frozen steak that you already own, or go buy a steak that you don't need because you already own one. You just want it because it's fresh. Which one's going to win? Well, bye, George. I said, okay. I'm going to do the grown-up thing. And I didn't stop to get a fresh steak. So I talked myself off that impulse train. I'm pretty proud of myself. I was proud of myself. Anyway, so supper tonight is a ribeye. I air fried it from frozen. And while that was going, I had it's probably about a half cup of onions. And angels are singing. I tell you, onions could make a pile of poop taste good. Now, so the onions are ish. This is an ish. And this is an ish. This is, each week I have to make one protein creamy, just straight keto chow. This one is blueberry. It's the keto chow blueberry or blueberry pie, blueberry something. Now, for those of you who are still new to me, I only make one because I'm making 7, and I typically cut my creamies in half. I got a whole playlist about my creamies. You go find them. But anyway, that amazing keto chow flavor is why I really prefer to cut it in half, because it's so strong and it's such a great flavor that if left unchecked, I could go make another one and another one and another one. But by cutting it, it's not so bad. So anyway, yeah, so that's what I got. I'm going to get back to watching Nona Grace. They're running on fumes, day 2 of the strive. So I need to go catch up with her. But I love you all, and happy Sunday. And tomorrow is Memorial Day. So I'll be here at the house pilfering around. Bye.